y'all. Well, first of all, I want to say welcome back to episode 11 of the WD&4L. That's Who Dat for Nation. I'm back to fucking it up. Who Dat Nation for Life podcast. I'm your host, Clay Johnson. You can follow me on Twitter at ClayJ2K, ClayJ2K540 for TikTok. You can follow this page on Twitter at WD&4L_pod, and same on YouTube. I have such a great show for y'all this time. Truly one of my best friends in the entire world, Tyler Thomas, has joined us. I'm just recording this intro real quick so that I can, go ahead and let y'all know that before we kind of jumped into it. But yeah, I just want to say that I really appreciate y'all always tuning in, and I'm really excited that y'all get to meet and hear my friend Tyler. He's a Cowboys fan, and he has some great takes just on football in general. He played football himself, as I explain in, you'll hear more. All right, what's up, fuckers? Welcome back to the WD&4L pod. That's the Who Dat Nation for Life podcast. I'm your host, Clay Johnson. We actually have a special episode for you today, as you can see, of what I'm calling the WD&TN4L pod with my good friend Tyler, one of the co-hosts of the D&T podcast. He is an all-state and all-area defensive tackle, both junior and senior year of high school. He went ahead and switched over to the offensive side at college for a D2 school. Shout out West Virginia Wesleyan. 3-year starter at guard and center. All-conference honorable mention. And soon-to-be father, one of my groomsmen, Tyler Thomas.
Yo, what up? What up? I appreciate the intro. Let's get rolling right into it.
I want to go ahead and start by saying that the Saints did absolutely shit on the Cowboys last year. I just have to say that real quick. But you being a Cowboys fan, you do have some sort of insight that Saints fans don't have yet on Kellen Moore. In fact, that's where he started his entire coaching career, was with the Cowboys. Just a real quick thing. Do you have anything positive to say about him? And you can follow it up with some negative things too.
Yeah, no, I was one of the people who enjoyed Kellen. I loved his play calling. Yes, it got very wacky at times because I think, one, he was inexperienced at the time because that was his first offensive coordinator job. And I think it was, he would call a jet sweep when it's 3rd and 20 or something like that. He's just trying to make a play. He's just trying to make something up to just get himself out there, get those crazy plays out there. Sometimes they work, sometimes they didn't. I will say, I believe that he basically put Dak Prescott on the map. I mean, I'm not going to say that in generally because Dak was still good before Kellen Moore came in, but once Kellen Moore came in and kind of had that relationship with him, obviously he played with Dak. He was a backup quarterback with Dak, so they had that relationship.
Right.
But I think that they just really, really worked well together. I think it definitely hurt him when he went over to LA, and he didn't have those type of relationships. But I do think he learned. I think he learned a lot from that, and then went over to Philly, had a decent head coach with him, and I think he's definitely destined. Honestly, I would have taken him as a head coach in this cycle over Brian Schottenheimer, but hey, you do what you can, right? So, but yeah, I like Kellen Moore. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good head coach. I just think, he might have to work out some kinks.
Right on. And since you played, offensive line in college, just real quick for my Saints fans out there, can you give me a very, very positive review of Taliesin Fuanga, who was honestly my favorite? I'm biased, but he was one of my favorite, first-round draft picks in general last year. And I think he was at least top 20 at his position, left tackle.
Just to give a little bit, like I said, I haven't done much research on him, but I have seen stats where he's like in the top 10 to top 15 range of tackles. So yeah, I think you guys got a promising start. Obviously, having somebody like that much better than Tyler Guyton. I'll tell you that. Tyler Guyton was obviously was god awful, and hopefully later on we can discuss kind of some replacements for him. Not the replacements. I'm not going to get rid
Oh,
of him that
some
fast, but
foreshadowing.
he's a he's a first round tackle. You know, we've been spoiled on our end for years of having fantastic offensive linemen and
Yeah.
defensive, just basically fantastic draft picks in general.
hmm
So hopefully he can turn it around this year. Maybe not as many penalties, but we'll see.
Do you have any, sleepers as far as offensive line or defensive line since you played both sides?
Yeah, actually I do. Tate Ratledge out of Georgia.
Yes, sir.
I think he is an absolute dog. He's going in the like third, fourth round for some odd reason, and I
Mhm.
think he has the potential and possibility to be one of the best guards in the class, guard or center, wherever you want to put him at. So yeah, I just think that Georgia, any they're just huge, they're big, they're mean.
Right. They played in the
All those
SEC.
Georgia linemen are just they're fantastic. They always pretty much like except for one or two in the past couple of years, they usually do pretty well in the league.
Right.
So yeah, I think Tate Rowledge is a fantastic prospect in this new upcoming draft.
What do you rate his hair game on a scale of 1 to 10?
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta
10
rock
out of
the
10.
mullet, bro.
10 out of
If
10.
I'm drafting a fucking guard these days, I kind of want him to have a mullet, if I'm being
Oh, for
honest.
sure. For sure.
All right, so let's just go ahead and get into this. I'll go ahead and run down a little bit of our topics. I don't want to give everything away. Tyler, being a Cowboys fan, if y'all couldn't pick up on that, we're gonna go ahead and give our final predictions for what we think the teams will actually do at pick 9 and pick 12. Um, Teams that we think might trade up, might trade back. We got a couple hot takes for you. And I lied. I do have another mock draft for everybody because, I can't fucking help myself. I have a problem. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this final prediction thing. I will start because I am the host. Final predictions for the Saints at 9. And Tyler, absolutely feel free to chime in at any point. Here are my thinkings. I'm going to list the names and then I will give you my thinkings. Again, this is Kellen Moore we're talking about, and this is his first pick as a head coach. I think you need to come in and make a statement, and I don't think it's quarterback. And I'm sorry for everybody that thinks it's Shadur Sanders. I will die on the hill of Tyler can probably attest to this. He is not a Kellen Moore style quarterback. He's just not. He's too small. That's kind of all I have to it. He's just not the body mold that Kellen Moore has ever worked with. Who's he worked with, Tyler? Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. They are
Yep.
all big. And I know that I'm a Jackson Dart fan, but keep in mind, I don't have us taking him at 9. So, all right, with that being said, my final predictions at 9, we have Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. I think Kellen Moore loves running 12 personnel. It's just one of the things that I've seen at multiple stops in his career. And Jawan Johnson is not it. And I'm so sorry that that's the case. Unless we're talking about, TikTok personalities, no, he is not it. And Tyler Warren can be. I think Tyler Warren is a Brock Bowers-esque, not body mold or anything, but just like he has the talent to be a Brock Bowers. I'm not entirely sure he is as good, but we'll see. He probably wouldn't be force fed the same way, so that's kind of what I'm getting at. That's my thoughts for Tyler Warren. My next one being Jalen Walker. I don't know what position we want to declare him as because he just plays all over the field. And I don't know if you're familiar with Brandon Staley's defensive scheme, Tyler, but Jalen Walker, honestly, is probably the perfect fucking player for his defensive scheme. He can play a couple different of the linebacker positions. He can rush off the edge for you. And I've heard he is a great leader. And you're losing Cam Jordan no matter what within the next 2 years. There's another vocal guy out the door for you. That would be my thinking for Jalen Walker, edge out of Georgia. And my final one, It's weird because I just said I don't like that he didn't run a 40 at his pro day. But funny enough, the person that I heard the good things from is right here with y'all, Tyler Thomas. Anyway, I think Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan, is absolutely something that can happen at pick 9 because, you know, tell me if I'm wrong, Tyler. If he didn't get hurt, I don't know if he would be there at 9. I think someone like the
Oh,
Raiders would probably take him. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure. He's definitely, I believe, a top 5 player in this class if he didn't get hurt.
Right.
Um, like I told you when you asked the question of if he ran his 40 or not, if that's going to hurt him or not. If you know that you're that talented of a player, you know you're just coming off of an injury. Why run a 40? Maybe it's going to be a 4.6, maybe it's a 4.5 because your knee's not fully healthy.
Right.
Run a 40 once you get selected by a by a team and go to their training camp and do whatever they got to do. Let them train you, like get under one of their medical staffs and have them heal you 100%. Yeah, I think Will Campbell's a dog. I think he's
Will Johnson.
or Will Johnson. Sorry, Will Johnson. Yeah,
Will Campbell
sorry.
is a dog, though.
Will Johnson is a dog. No, I do think Will Johnson is a dog, and I think any team that passes up on him because of the injury, we have so many players get over these ACL injuries nowadays, or
Right.
just knee
Yeah.
injuries in general. Hell, we even have players now coming back from Achilles injuries, and we all thought that that was impossible to do. Kevin Durant's still playing basketball after his Achilles
Fucking,
tear, like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it's been now. So
yeah, Nick Chubb.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly. And Aaron Rodgers is still. I mean, he can still kind of cook it up and he came back a year after. I mean, it's whatever it is, right? So,
yeah.
yeah, I think just if you pass up on Will Johnson, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. If he falls to 12, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't
Then
mind
let's
it,
go
man.
ahead and get into your final predictions for the Cowboys at 12.
Yeah, I don't think there's a strong pass rusher in this class, obviously, except for Abdul Carter. Some of them are okay, some of them are good. Like you got your James Pierce, but he's a little bit smaller, all that type. He's just I don't know kind of what you want in that.
Yeah.
Mike Green, I just think he's kind of like unfortunately like a Trevor Penning situation where he showed off at the
Whoa.
Senior Bowl and is like this gritty guy and just wants to fight for every single thing he gets, but I don't think
Yeah.
that always correlates to the NFL. I mean, sometimes it
He,
does, sometimes it doesn't. You
yeah. He's
know,
definitely a high motor guy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So high motor's great. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes it just doesn't always work out.
Right.
You also got to have the talent behind it. Um, and then yeah, so oh yeah, Jalen Walker as well. I don't really see it as much. I just don't see. He's kind of slow when he comes off the ball. He kind of
Hmm.
read and reacts. Like he's more of like an interior defensive tackle, like how he plays instead of a pass rusher. So if that's what your team is looking for, cool. Like he could definitely be a DeMarcus Lawrence type player if he
Right.
gets a little bit bigger, where he's a fantastic run stopper or anything like that. But for what we need, I think we need just more pass rush in general for
I
the
gotcha.
Cowboys. People that I do want to select at 12, kind of my final predictions of kind of what I think the team. If Tyler Warren's there, they're smacking the button. Obviously,
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think they're pulling it. Just to get a dynamic playmaker on the offensive side, I think it's a no-brainer.
Hmm.
Will Johnson, I do have also. If he's there, smack the button because again, I've done plenty of mocks for the Cowboys at this point, and right now I'm actually kind of sitting here in a mock draft, just kind of seeing who's going to be there right
Just
now.
to do it.
Tet is there. I don't know if I would pick Tet, but yeah, Will Johnson seems to fall in that area, and I think he's the best player available, and I think you got to pick him. Um, my favorite receiver in the class, Luther Burden, is somebody who I think he's wide receiver one. I
Whoa.
genuinely do. I think he is wide receiver one.
Whoa. We're getting into a little bit of the hot takes early.
Yeah, so I think Luther Burden is wide receiver one, but again, we'll go over hot takes here in a little bit. But those are my kind of final predictions on. Oh, and then Jahad Campbell. I forgot about him as well. I think Jahad Campbell is just a
Absolute
solid
beast.
prospect.
Absolute.
Again, it's kind of the mocks I've done at 12. You're not really you're either reaching a little bit or you're just trying to pick best player available. And I
Yeah,
think Jahad Campbell or Will Johnson at 12 is your best pick, is your best player available.
gotcha. Yeah. That's funny. One of the things that I wanted to ask you just as a quick sidebar is who is a more underrated prospect between Luther Burden and Trey Harris? So I'm
Luther
guessing
Burden and
you're
Trey
going to
Harris.
say, yeah, I'm guessing you're going to go ahead and say Luther Burden, which is fine. I just
Uh,
know that you also think Trey Harris is slept on.
no, I think he's definitely slept on. Honestly, he's probably one of my favorite receivers in the class. Maybe
Yeah.
not the best, but he's definitely one of my favorite. In terms of like draft slot, Trey Harris is definitely more slept on for sure.
Yeah. Going in the third
I
round and
think
whatnot.
I think he's way better than who's the guy from Jaden Higgins. I think he's way better than
Oh,
Jaden Higgins. I think
shit.
he's way better than Jack Beck. I think he's way better than all these other receivers that are going ahead of him in the second round.
Yeah.
Um, I think what he got an injury, right? That's kind of why he's fallen a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's dude. If you've seen, I know you did. You're an Ole Miss fan, but Ole Miss's offense at the beginning of the year was electrifying. Trey Harris was
Yeah.
amazing. He's like a six. What is he? 6'3", 6'4", something like that.
He's
He's a
six
big
three.
receiver.
Yeah.
He ran
Yeah.
like a 4.5. Why don't you want that? That's
Yeah.
fantastic. CeeDee Lamb ran a 4.5. He's like 6'1". Like
Yeah.
it's like similar type of players. Yeah. So I think
Absolutely.
Trey Harris is,
And
for
it's
whatever reason, he's falling into the third round, sometimes fourth round.
what's insane is a wide receiver in the SEC averaging over 100 yards per game.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like, you know that they're getting covered. Fuck, Maxwell Hairston was covering him, and that's damn near a first round pick. You know what I mean? Just for example.
Yeah.
So it's always in the SEC. It's just always competition on competition every fucking day.
Trey Harris
Which
has serious, because he's not going to get drafted in the fifth round, but he has serious potential to be like Stephon Diggs and just like
yeah, I got you.
be just, yes, they did great things in college, but then they get drafted later and he
Just
becomes
even
a beast
better.
number one receiver. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool. Fuck. Well, all right. I guess we can go ahead and you wanted to transition into hot takes now?
Yeah, we can go into hot takes.
All right. So we'll go ahead and transition into the hot takes. Uh I will go ahead and start because this has been pissing me off to no
Mm-hmm.
end, and I try not to let it get to me. It just really fucking does because I've even seen this dude go to the Saints at 9, and I just cannot, for the life of me, cannot wrap my head around this shit. Tyler Shuck, whatever the fuck, is not even a top 7 quarterback in this class. Like, I don't understand this recent first round buzz that he's getting. I'm not kidding. I can name you at least 5 quarterbacks right off the top of my head that I would take before him. And that's obviously Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Kyle McCord. Fuck, I would take Sam Cook over him. I
I
know
would
you
take
don't
Will
like
Howard.
Sam.
I
Yeah,
would take
but
Will Howard.
do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea why Justin Herbert's Oregon backup is all of a sudden a first round buzz. He was throwing passes to Juwan Johnson in college. Juwan
Yeah.
Johnson is on his 3rd NFL contract. We have seen it multiple times before. When a quarterback is old and they come in as a rookie, it does not work out. And I'm sorry that that's the case, but look at Brandon
It does
Weeden.
not work out long term. It does not work out long term. Short
Yeah,
term sometimes because it's like, what? Who was the old quarterback last year that came in?
Hendon Hooker came out like 2 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, but it was I can't remember, but there was an older quarterback that just came out, and he was actually, oh, it was it's Denver. What's his name?
Oh,
I'm
Bo Nix,
blanking.
Bo Nix,
Yeah,
Bo Nix,
Bo
Bo
Nix.
Nix.
I mean, yeah, he was in college for a long time, but again, I agree with
Yeah,
you.
Sean
I agree with
Payton.
you. Yeah, it doesn't work out long term. Does not work out long term. He might be your immediate backup starter somewhere, like backup
Right,
to your
right,
starter,
right.
because of just the experience that he has. But no, he does not have the talent. I think the only reason he is getting any sorts of draft buzz is because he was one of the only people to run a 40 at the combine. That is the
Dude,
only reason, and he freaking like lit up the crowd. That's all he did.
yeah.
That's
Dude,
all
you
he
know
did,
what's
and that's why
insane
he's getting
though?
buzzed.
What's insane is, so to your point about Bo Nix, he had the most starts in FBS history, right? Dude,
Yep.
Tyler Shuck doesn't even have 70 starts in college. being in there for like 7 years
Man.
because he has 2 seasons of not playing at all from
Yeah.
injury.
Yeah.
I,
That's brutal.
I'm not kidding. I obviously, and I know you're a tiny bit of a fan of Spencer Rattler, just a tiny bit, definitely not as
Yeah.
much as me. But I would obviously, if the Saints for some fucking reason took Shuck, I would obviously just assume he's the backup to Spencer Rattler because he is not better than him. I'm sorry, he's just not.
I can see you taking him in the 7th round or 6th round, but not like,
I would
dude.
take
There's
Kyle
so
McCord
many.
at that point, though. Do you get my
Yes,
point? Or Will
I
Howard,
agree.
like you said.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
Do you have a
So
hot take?
yeah. My hot take is I commented it on one of your videos before.
Yeah, you
I
did.
just I don't think that Matthew Golden is a number one, or no, I'm sorry, I do not think Matthew Golden is a first round receiver. I don't really like a lot of the receivers in this class. I like maybe 4 or 5. Um,
Yeah,
Matthew Golden, I think, is only getting the Henry Ruggs hype and the John Ross hype because he ran a 4.2. He ran the fastest 40 because no one had heard of him before the combine. He
yeah,
goes and runs a 4.29 40. It's the top of the leaderboards every time that someone turns on the TV. And oh my God, now he's a top 15 pick. That's
yeah. I
all it
get it.
is.
I get it. Yeah.
You're talking about a person at pick 12. You're talking about a person at pick 12 that never broke 1,000 yards in college.
Oh,
Never broke 1,000 yards in college. It's right here. His freshman year, he had 571 yards. His sophomore year, he had 404 yards. Last year, with the team that they had going to the playoffs in 16 games, he had 987 yards. 987 yards. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to
yeah,
say. I'm
yeah.
taking Luther Burden over that all day. I'm taking Ted McMillan over that all
That's
day.
fair.
I'm
Definitely,
taking
Ted.
who else? Who else is there? Basically anybody else that's projected in the first round. Oh, Emeka Egbuka. I am smashing.
Absolutely,
I am
absolutely.
smashing Emeka Egbuka. He
Hey,
with he is even last year when they won the national championship, and I think less games, he broke 1,000 yards at least a
yeah,
1,000 yards.
yeah.
If
Agbuka
you're
is,
not breaking a
yeah.
1,000 yards in college in 16 games when there's 16, 17 games in the NFL season now, you're not doing it in the NFL. I'm sorry, it's just not doing it.
All right.
And if you watch the film, if you really watch the film, he is his 40 time is 4.29. If you watch the film, you can go watch a 5-minute highlight film. He's not getting separation. He's not. He's not getting separation. His routes where he is catching passes are crossing routes, and even if he's catching it and falling down, he's not getting yards after the catch.
Ooh,
Do
yeah.
it. Go do your
So,
research. But that's just
so
me.
does that mean that he just has straight line speed? Is what you're saying? And
Yes,
he's
and
not
barely even that.
necessarily. I was about to say not necessarily in pads and equipment because you know, for example, Alvin Kamara is not the fastest player by any means.
Yep.
But for some reason, when he gets out in the open field, he breaks away. He does not get caught.
Shiftiness, besides Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill's shifty. Shiftiness in the NFL gets you a lot longer or a lot further
Further,
ahead than somebody
yeah,
with just straight line speed.
yeah,
Because even if you go watch film and he catches a ball and he's wide open and then he's running, he gets caught. He
yeah,
gets caught.
yeah.
I'm just being based off of just everything that I've seen. I've
All right,
watched a ton of football in my life, and I can't stress it enough that I do not think that Matthew Golden is a first round receiver.
all right, and that's your opinion, and maybe you've swayed mine on that. And honestly, truly, I wouldn't be surprised if his name doesn't get called in the first round. I think a lot of people just kind of replaced Luther Burden with him because of the combine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When in reality, Luther Burden should be the, let's say wide receiver 2 or 3 in this class.
Yep. And I don't
Um,
know if you are a big fan of like breakout ages and stuff like that, but usually in terms of that breakout age, like if you have a younger breakout age, you're going to be a better prospect in the NFL.
right.
Matthew Golden's breakout age, he is 21 in 7 months right now. His breakout age was 20 years old and 1 month. So literally, like if you go to any of the big name receivers in the league, their breakout age is 18, sometimes
Ah,
19, even
okay. I
sometimes
gotcha.
17.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just breaking out that late in college never really works out. And he didn't even, like, again, no 1,000 yard season. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha. I got one more hot take for y'all. I already talked to Tyler about this, and he somewhat agrees with me. Um, I'm gonna change it a little bit because I was just being dramatic when I put it down in the notes, but um, Siobhan Revell, cornerback out of East Carolina, I truly think he would be like right after Will Johnson as far as corners go if he did not get hurt last year, which is so ironic because Will Johnson and him both got hurt and their stock is his is not nearly falling as much as Ravel's is, but like it's in question now, right? Um Ravel all of a sudden is a second round pick. And I'm
Makes no
not
sense.
kidding. If pick 40 rolls around, or fuck, the Saints did this last year with Kool-Aid McKinstry. If pick 34 rolls around and Ravel is on the board, I am calling so fucking fast to whoever what I think that would be the Giants. I'm calling them so fucking fast. I can't even explain how elite of a body mold Siobhan Ravel is for a corner in today's league. He's like 6'3". You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And he runs
I
fast.
I totally agree with you. I think Siobhan Revell is top two. I think he's better than Jade Barron. Fully healthy, I
Yeah,
think
that's
he's way
fair.
better than Jade Barron, honestly.
That's fair. I think Barron's
And
just versatile. You know what I mean?
yeah, I agree. I can agree with you on that. Um, yeah, I mean, he falls to me in a ton of mocks
Yeah.
at 42. I think we have
Yeah.
44.
It's insane.
So I snag him up every time I see him mostly.
Absolutely.
He's again going back off of the knee injury. People come back from knee injuries. I think the reason he's falling so much, it's not I think I know the reason he's falling so much is that he went to East Carolina. He didn't go to a big school. If he went to a big school like Michigan or Alabama or something like that, he's still probably a first round pick just based off of the history. But yeah, I think
Hmm.
Shavon Ravel is he's going to be like your who's the corner for the Eagles, the one that came
Quinion
from
Mitchell.
Toledo or Tulane, what it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
Quinyon Mitchell.
Quinion Mitchell. Yeah.
I think he's the exact same thing. I think he's going to be one of the best corners in this class when the season ends. And
Yep.
you'll see it. You'll see it.
Absolutely. I just I just he looks like a saint to me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Not if he's at 44. Not if he's at 44.
Do you have any other hot takes or
No, that's one that has been brewing for me for a while because I see so many consensus mock drafts of people picking Goldman at 12,
I think it's just because he went to
and
Texas and y'all are the Cowboys.
it's honestly yeah, it probably is. It probably is.
Which, ironically, I want to do a little sidebar real quick. Because I know that you were already saying you have players that you absolutely don't want at pick
Mhm.
12. So let's just talk about that real quick. Like players that you, no matter what, do not want at 12. Let's say it's falling like, hypothetically, I'm not saying Mason Graham gets to y'all, but like, would you take him? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, or is he one of those like, no matter what, I don't want him?
Yeah, yeah. People that I wouldn't take at 12, I put Matthew Golden there. I did put Jalen Walker there. Just because like I talked about earlier, I think what we need on our team is a little bit more pass rush because it was lacking a lot. That's why we got rid of D Law or let D Law walk because D Law was more of a run stopping defensive end. You could have honestly thrown him inside a three technique and put somebody else at pass rush and do it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Because Micah is going to get double and triple teamed at some points.
Hmm.
And you need somebody like I'm glad we re-signed Osa because Osa is, I think, a really good pass rushing defensive tackle. If Mason Graham or somebody was there, if somehow it happened, I would love taking him because I do think we
Yeah.
need. This is the first year in a long time where I think the Cowboys need multiple positions instead of just one position.
Which is not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing at all. I would. I'm trying to kind of think. Jade, I probably if he's there, I don't think I want to take him there. I'd
Yeah.
rather if Will Johnson's there, I'd rather take Will. And then I would smash. If like Armand Membu or Will Campbell. If somehow they end up falling to 12, I don't think they will. I would definitely smash that.
Yeah.
If we are going the edge route, I do not want Donovan Ezeraku. I don't think he's really that.
I don't think he
I
fits
think he's
y'all's
good.
mold.
No, I don't. I think
Yeah.
he's good.
Yeah.
I don't think he is kind of, like you said, what the Cowboys need, and I just don't think he's worth it at 12. Um, yeah, a bunch of these picks, again, I think the main people I would pick, and it's even to professionals aspect. Luther Burden, Tyler Warren, and Jahad Campbell are probably my three best players available that are falling to that 12 range, and
Hmm.
that's probably it. That's who I'm gonna stick with. Um,
Gotcha.
if somehow Ashton Genty falls, I'm like smashing that out of the button, but
Ain't no
we'll
way
see.
he
We'll
gets
see.
past 9, brother.
We'll
Ain't
see.
no fucking way. And even if he makes it to 9, actually, you know what? Hold on. I will get to that because I want to say you brought up Menbu, and that's transitions to players that I absolutely do not want. Um, the Saints do not fucking need an O lineman with a top 10 pick simply
Mm,
because it would be a guard.
yeah,
And I just, like, you played guard, Tyler, so, no offense to you, but like, it's not a premium position.
it's
It's
not.
not. It's not something that you take with a top 10 pick. The Saints haven't had a top 10 pick since fucking 2006. And it's just like, hypothetically speaking, you don't want to be here again. You don't want to be in the top 10 pick again if you're trying to, quote, be competitive, as Mickey Loomis says.
Unless you're
He's
getting a Quentin Nelson or a Zach Martin or something like that, you don't pick guard in the top 10 to
right,
maybe
right.
even 15 picks, because you can find like a Tate Ratledge in the third.
Exactly. And that's what I was getting at is this draft class at guard is deep. Fuck, there's the kid from William and Mary, Charles Grant. He could
Yeah,
fucking play guard. Donovan Jackson. Fuck. The kid from Arizona with the
yep,
fucked up last name.
yep.
Um,
Uh, 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 Samai Lava or
Sabiyabadabada.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah. Him,
anything. Yeah.
him. There's multiple Georgia guards that are not going until the third round and shit.
No,
Um,
a lot of these tackles that are in tackles, like that's
right,
their position, are going to
right.
play guard. Gray Zabel is
Uh,
a great example for that.
he's a
A guy
guard,
out of
absolutely.
North Dakota State. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
kid
pretty
out
much
of
anybody that's 6'4" and shorter is going to be a guard.
West Virginia. He's
Oh, Trey
listed as a
Milam.
tackle.
Or not Trey Milam. Wyatt
Uh,
Milam.
yes, yes, yes. He's listed as a tackle. He's playing guard at the next level.
Yep.
And he's going to be good. That's my point. Is like, no, you're not taking an O lineman at 9. I just, I don't, I just, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't. Okay, okay, okay. So this actually is what I was saying before. This actually is a good transition into. We're just going to go ahead and talk about teams that we think will trade up. Well, let's start. You want to start with back or up?
Yeah. We can do up. We can do trade up.
Okay, so we'll start with the teams that we think might trade up. I will go ahead and say it's funny that you said if Ashton Genty makes it to the Cowboys, you would take him because if Ashton Genty makes it to pick 9, you know damn fucking well that Sean Payton is calling Mickey Loomis, his old friend, and
Yep.
saying, "Brother, I will give you a king's fucking ransom for this kid." And moving up to
I can see
9.
that.
So
I
I
can
think
see
the
that.
Broncos are absolutely a team that could trade up. What do you think? Do you think the Broncos are a team that could trade up,
For
or do you
sure,
think it's
yeah,
just
I definitely see
situational?
that. I definitely see the Broncos trading up. I think that they do have some capital in this draft, and then obviously future drafts from here on. Yeah, I can definitely see them trading up, especially like you just said. He has the relationship with Mickey Loomis, and
Mm-hmm.
I think 9 is honestly a perfect spot for him to trade up because if Ashton gets to 10, the Bears are a million percent snagging him
One
up.
million
A,
percent.
a million
1
percent
million.
snagging him up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a spot on prediction.
A team that I think you and I definitely agree on is the Steelers. Probably
Yep.
trading up. Yeah.
That's if quarterbacks go like crazy. I think that's if Cam Ward goes. That's if Shador goes. And maybe pick 9 is there, or maybe he trades
Yeah.
with maybe they trade with the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
And they're
To
like,
jump in
oh,
front of the
Jackson
Saints.
Dart, Jackson
Yeah.
Dart is right there. They might take him. Boom. Let's do that, right? So
Yeah.
if both Shador and Cam Ward are both gone, I do see the Steelers moving up.
Yep. Um, I also have the Saints as a team that'll trade up. Now I put an asterisk because I don't think it happens in the first round, but like it happens in the first round. But I think what we do is we trade up from 40. We have done it multiple times. Um, Recently, it's just been to stay within the second round. However, just, I am biased, but if hypothetically speaking, Jackson Dart makes it to the late 20s, I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints go ahead and trade up so that they can jump in front of the Browns or Giants' second round pick
Mhm.
just to make sure that they get this guy because Kellen Moore loves Jackson Dart, and I don't understand how y'all don't see it. I don't know if it's just like rose colored lenses as far as Saints fans go. I don't know if I know you
I
don't
can
pay
only
attention to
see it.
Saints
I don't
Twitter.
see. I'm not in the
Um,
Saints realm, but I can only see it.
like he is a Jalen Hurts mold, and honestly, he even has some Dak Prescott in him. As much as I hate to say that because he went to a shitty school.
He's them
Um,
too, but with a bigger, stronger arm.
yeah, exactly, and he just screams Kellen Moore. And oh, and fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, he was at Jackson Dart's pro day, like in person.
Yeah,
The dog making in
yeah, he's going
there.
crazy. Sorry.
No, that's good, bro. Fuck, the kids got dropped off at the grandparents, so I actually have a
There
little bit of time.
you
Um,
go.
but yeah, I think Jackson Dart is a Kellen Moore quarterback through and through. Point being, I think the Saints end up trading up to get their guy. And I was actually just talking to Alyssa, my wife. Tyler knows Alyssa, so we just go by names. I was just talking to her because she said that would piss her off. Now she is the ultimate Jackson Dart truther because I introduced her to football through Ole Miss, who was the quarterback at the time, Jackson Dart. So she
Yeah.
loves him. She said that would piss her off. Tyler, just from a second opinion, because she's only going to listen to so much of me, just as I'm sure Hannah will only listen to so much of you. Um, can you explain to her why it's a calculated risk that makes sense for the Saints to go ahead and go BPA at 9 and then trade back up into the first to get Jackson Dart?
Yes, because you get. I mean, yes, it kind of makes just complete sense to us, so it's kind of hard to
Yeah,
explain it
yeah,
that way, right? It's
exactly.
um, yeah, you take best player available at 9 because Jackson Dart is not right now like talked about as a first round pick. Some people think of him as, some people don't think of him as
Yeah,
that.
some
So
people think he's like a
it's
third
it's
round pick.
just trying to yes, it's just trying to get the best value possible.
Right.
It's like waiting on Thursdays to get the grocery sale, and it's like, oh, now eggs are $2 off or whatever it is. It's just waiting and
Damn,
getting
that
the
was
best
perfect.
possible value, but while you also have, you know, you can get one of the best players in the draft here at 9, and
Hmm.
then spend a little bit more capital down here to be able to just grab your guy. I mean, because
Yeah.
teams will have a guy and teams will want to just pick the guy.
Right.
So they pick the guy, and then later on they get their guy. Because like the Cowboys guy could be someone who is like, I know this dude's going to be a Cowboy. I know he's going to
Right.
be fit with our team, but he could be a third round pick. He could be somebody that is not as talented as someone like Ashton Jinty, but they look at, for example, Cam Scadaboo, and they're like, I love Cam Scadaboo. That's my guy, but he's not. I don't need to pick him here because now I can get other things that are going to fill out needs and then
Right.
get my guy here down here. So it's just
Yeah.
I think that's
It's
how I
just
can explain it as best as
yeah. I
possible, but
mean,
I don't
it's
know.
it's to an outsider's perspective. To those that might just not know, and I'm not just calling out Alyssa. I love you, babe. I'm just saying to those that might not know, there's a reason teams have draft boards. It's almost like an understanding of what everyone else already thinks as far as player values go. Now, I found a way to have a tangent on another 5 minute, rant on Jackson Dart, but I just wanted to clear that up for my wife. Um, to get back to the other two teams that I think will trade up, which is ironic because of what I just said. I think the Browns and Giants are going to try their hardest to trade up to, get one of those quarterbacks, like I said. They might get scared as far as sticking and picking into that second round. I personally think, like Jalen Milrow or something is like someone that they could just sit there and wait for. But
Well, I
as
think
you
the
know,
Giants are a perfect opportunity for Jalen Milrow. I
exactly.
think, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you
as you
100%.
know, teams just panic though. They all of a sudden start to panic. And let's be honest, you're a Cowboys fan, you know this. The Giants front office is full of idiots. So I truly wouldn't be surprised if they panic as well. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So do you have any other teams that I didn't mention that you think might trade up?
Yeah, I think Seattle is a they have so much draft capital. They have 2 second round picks.
Ooh,
I think they could even trade up at 12. I think it's a possible thing that they trade up to 12 to grab somebody. That's the hard part with 12 right now, though, is that um, there's just not that many desirable players there. That's the
yeah, that's just how
problem,
this
and
draft is.
it is.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate, and that's why, like, I think when we go to people who trade back, I'm not going to pick the Cowboys because I don't think anybody is going to want to come up to 12. Like,
Right.
it's you gotta think about it that way. It's like it's not just, hey, I have pick 12. I'm going to call you and say,
Yeah.
come give me a
Come
second
take
round
this
pick
pick.
and a first round
Yeah.
pick, and yeah, come take it. It's they gotta want somebody, right? That team has to want somebody to come up and
They
pick there.
they have to
Um,
have some sort of already, understanding that a team wants to trade up. You know what I
exactly,
mean? Yeah.
exactly. And so yeah, I mean, but just in any situation, I think either in the top 10, I think we can definitely see Seattle possibly going up there because they have a quarterback in Sam Darnold. They only signed him to I think a 1 year deal, right? Or was it
Nah,
3 years?
I think it's three. But you know
It might
how
be three.
there's probably
But
like
yeah,
a
whatever.
ghost
Yeah,
year at the end
yeah,
of two
something
or
like that.
something.
But they do need a lot of help. They need offensive line. They need defense. So they might like what's his name, Ezeraku, and he could be there and at 12, and that's who they can trade up for or something like that, right? So
Yeah,
I definitely see, and like I said, they have 2 second round picks. I think they have a couple third round picks. Like they have so much that they can use to trade up, and I think yeah, I definitely see them kind of boosting up at least the top 15.
I agree with you, and truly, for the life of me, wouldn't be surprised if Tet makes it past those first couple wide receiver needy
Yeah.
teams. And for example, y'all like Luther Burden instead or something, and you just
Yep.
take that calculated risk that I'm trying to explain and jump back because you're like, fuck, no one else really likes Luther Burden the way we do. But
Yep.
the Seahawks are willing to give us an extra second round pick just to draft Tedero and McMillan because they're stupid and they traded away DK Metcalf.
You're
You know what
so
I mean?
right. You're so right. You're so right. Yep. I didn't even think about that. You're so right.
I try, man, I try. So would Seattle be your only one other than the ones that I
I
mentioned?
think so. Yeah. I just don't think. I just don't think with capital with how I mean maybe I don't know what Arizona has, but Arizona definitely needs offensive line, and
Yeah,
if someone like Membu or
yeah,
even if Kelvin Banks or something like that they fall, I can definitely see that. I mean, right now Kevin Banks is not in the top. Like in this draft, at least that I'm just looking at, and not
but
the top 12. But
to
go
your
ahead.
point though, I don't think Kelvin Banks would make it past Indy.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean they could definitely trade up and
Yeah,
in that 13 to 10 range and possibly take that tackle or guard that they might be looking
yeah.
for.
Especially because the 49ers are probably going trenches. We just don't
Yeah,
know which side because
yeah,
they're decimated on both sides of it.
yeah. So I mean, if Arizona wants to do anything, I just feel like Arizona is one of these forgotten franchises. If they want to make a move, they can definitely move up and get somebody for the trenches to protect Kyler Murray,
I,
so he's not freaking running around
that,
every
that's crazy
play.
because they almost made the playoffs.
Yeah,
Um, I think they need a running back. I don't know about first round, but at some point James Conner is not. But
I
that's
agree.
a completely different topic.
Mhm.
So we'll get into the teams that we think might trade back. I will go ahead and start and say I've been saying this from damn near day fucking one. The Patriots at pick 4 feel like a perfect spot for a team that, like the Giants, well, I guess they're already ahead of them. So let me say, like, a different quarterback team. And I'm praying it's not the Saints, but someone that is just like, holy fuck, Shadur just got taken by the fucking Giants at 3. Steelers are like, dude, fuck this. We're jumping up to 4. We'll give you our first next year, our second next year, our second this year. I don't think the Steelers have a second this year. So, but point being is, and we'll take Jackson Dart. Like we have to. because you see it happen all the time. Fuck, it happens in fantasy football drafts. If you take a quarterback, all of a sudden other teams are like, oh fuck, that's one less quarterback. I need to make sure that I fucking take a quarterback because I don't want to be one of these teams I got left hanging out to dry. You know what I mean? So I think the Patriots are a good spot for
I
that.
can see I can see with that logic. I think the Patriots wouldn't move if especially Shador and Cam are taken right then and there.
Yeah,
That means either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter is still on the board, and I think Patriots take one of those guys.
they probably would take Abdul
But
Carter for
I
sure.
think the same exact logic for the Jaguars. I think the same exact logic for the Jaguars. The Jaguars, they don't like. Yes, they need a receiver, um, but they can get a Emeka Egbuka later in the
Absolutely.
like
And
exactly
he's a
right where
slot anyway. He's a
yeah,
slot
yeah.
anyway. Brian Thomas is your outside receiver. So
Yes,
yes,
yes.
like I
At
could
20, like
definitely see
Steelers
that.
at 21 going up to Jacksonville, I think that's a spot on type of deal because
Yeah,
again,
and
yes, Jacksonville needs players, but I think if you that big of a jump, you're going to get a lot of capital in the draft
and
to
they're
fill out those players.
right,
Yeah,
and
I
they're
think
not going to be good
it's great.
anytime soon anyway. So they're going to have more top 10 picks.
Hmm.
Let's at least say top 10. You know what I mean? At the very least for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, another team that I think I've said it before on my podcast. I know you listen, so you probably heard it. Uh,
Hmm.
Carolina Panthers. Other than them possibly wanting to be petty and take Tedero McMillan before the Saints possibly could,
Hmm.
a report has already come out that the Panthers are willing to trade back and they're not receiving phone calls, which is surprising to them. That could be a fucking smokescreen for
Yeah,
all we fucking know. They could have fielded 20 calls already for teams that are trying to jump in front of the Saints because they think the Saints are going to take a quarterback. I know I'm a Saints fan, I'm a Saints podcast, so you might think that I'm just saying that to say that, but this shit happens all the time. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I think the Panthers are absolutely a team that would be willing to trade back, considering that they fucked up and trade so much of what they traded to go get Bryce Young. The jury is still out on him. He could absolutely somewhat live up to the hype. He had a good end to his season last year.
yeah.
But point being is they traded way too much for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, they did.
I think that they could try and bounce back a little bit and well, no pun intended, but bounce back a little bit by bouncing back and receiving more picks.
Hmm.
Uh,
Um, yeah, just to go off of kind of what you have here, I'll just kind of because I think the Jags are
there you go.
one of my big ones. But you have down here the Rams. So what do you
I
think
do
about the
have the
Rams?
Rams. They have shown so many times as an organization
They
that
don't want first
they
round picks.
love picks. They just love picks that aren't first round picks. It's like Bill Belichick back in the day.
Yeah, you're right.
Motherfucker would trade back from like 20. You know what I mean? Back into the second round all the fucking time. The Rams, and I will give them all the fucking credit in the world, they are good at drafting. They really are. And they're so good at drafting, they don't feel the need to have a first round pick. They just keep gathering assets to constantly have a built up team. I fucking wish the Saints would do something like this. Like they are always in playoff contention without having first round picks. And what they do is when it comes time for needing someone like a Matthew Stafford, they have all these picks accumulated that they just fucking trade to get that player.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's not like I have like a team that would jump up, but fuck, maybe the Saints, the Rams pick at 26. Maybe the Saints see that as their window to jump up to. You know what I mean? 26 to 40, it's not like super far back as far as the way this draft class is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of my thinking with the Rams. Not necessarily the Saints. I'm just saying like they enjoy not having first round picks, and it works out for them.
I mean, I can honestly see that situation, um, like Jackson Dart's still on the board, and
Exactly.
the Saints want to come up to 26 and trade that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because let's say the draft board doesn't go like we expect, and Shador Sanders is not even taken in the top 15 picks. It's not even taken yet, and then Pittsburgh gets Shador at 21. Let's think of it as like the 20. What was it? 2, 3 years ago, the Kenny Pickett draft,
Mm-hmm.
2022.
2020. I think it's 2021. Maybe it's 2022.
Whatever it was. But yeah,
Nah,
Kenny Pickett draft.
yeah,
Like
2022 because Matt Corral was a part of that class and he was at
so,
Ole Miss in 2021. So yeah,
so maybe these people just don't even, because that's what we were thinking about. Like when the draft was come, oh, Malik Willis is going to be a first round pick. Kenny Pickett, like these guys, maybe these guys don't think that they're going to be first rounds.
right.
And there's like, okay, well, the Steelers, they're not prone to doing it. They did it with Kenny Pickett. Let's do it at 21 with Shedeur Sanders. He's there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the Saints get scared and they're like, oh, he might, because there's that second quarterback taken now. Let's go up and get our,
Let's
our Johnny Manziel type of thing, right? And trade up and get Johnny
right,
Manziel, right?
right.
So yeah, the Saints could definitely do that at 26 for especially if that scenario happens.
And another team, my next team, same exact scenario, just a little bit further back. Washington Commanders. I can't quite put my finger on what they absolutely need, considering it's pick 29. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not enough of a difference between 29 and again, I'm a Saints podcast, so I'm going to say 40. But it could be the fucking Browns or Giants too. Point
Yeah.
being is
Yeah.
there's not enough of a difference between 29 and like 33 to even like 44 or something. Like there,
Well,
it's just
especially if the Commanders are sitting there and like they want a corner, they want a corner, they want a corner, and if they trade back to Tennessee's 35 or 36 at Jacksonville, like then they see Trey Amos or uh, Siobhan Revell or
Ravel.
somebody like
Yep,
that, and they're just like, okay, boom, I'm gonna smash the pick. I got some
easy.
picks in the
Yeah,
back now. Like
yep,
let's go ahead and roll, right? So I can
yeah,
definitely see that.
yep. Um, yeah. I mean, that's all I have as far as teams that might trade back. I don't know if you have any. I mean, you got to keep in mind, y'all. Like I'm mainly talking about the first two rounds. If you want to go and talk about like the fucking Patriots in the fifth round trade back, shut up.
No,
Like that's
that
not what I'm
stuff.
talking about. It doesn't matter. I'm talking about the first two rounds where you're getting star players.
Yeah,
The Saints for it.
I think a lot of teams would be open to trading back. It goes back to the who's going to be calling for these picks, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because it's like you're going to get the same caliber player. I feel at pick 25
Hmm.
to pick 45. I think it's the
Right.
same type of caliber player, right?
It
So
is. It is for the most
it's
part.
it's
It's
because like
players that
if
could
you
be
if
a
you flip a
starter.
coin, I'll take Trey Amos or Siobhan Revell, and they're both in
Exactly.
that in that in
Exactly.
that in that range, right?
Or
So
fuck even Maxwell
um,
Harrison. Like
yeah, exactly.
just there's so many of those that
Or if you want to take one of those running backs, there's 5 of those running backs still on the board.
Jesus, the running backs, dude. This is the deepest class that I've
Yeah,
had in
it's
my
ridiculous.
memory of running backs, like straight up.
Ridiculous.
Like you can get a solid contributor to your backfield in the fifth and sixth round
Oh yeah.
without blinking an eye. It's insane. Um, but yeah, I mean, like you're saying, anywhere from 25 to 45, like they're starting caliber players.
Yeah.
It's just not like past years where if you really want like a star, you know what I mean? Yeah, jump up to 24 because this and that. And it's not like that this year. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing about this class. I think it's deeper than most classes in the sense
Mhm.
of contributing players.
Oh
You're
yeah.
just
We're gonna
not
still see
getting
these
these elite
players
talents.
playing 10 years from now, 8 years from now. Like they'll still
Exactly.
be playing starting. They might not be Justin Jefferson, or they might not
They may not
be
be
CeeDee
Micah
Lamb or something
Parsons.
like, or Micah Parsons or whatever it
Yeah,
might be, but they're going to be consistent starters. They're going to stay on teams. They're going to be on special teams. Like they're going to be these type of players that are just
exactly.
going to stick around in the league for a long time. No matter what, if they're a free agent, they're going to get paid because some team is going to find that need.
Exactly. Exactly. And fuck, I've even heard, for example, you were talking about Luther Burden. I've heard that one of the things that people aren't even taking into account is his special teams contributing factor. He can be a fucking punt returner. I know you have Cavante Turpin, so maybe not for y'all, but I'm just saying,
Don't get me
like,
started.
you know what I mean? Um, that's just an example. Like he could make a contribution on special teams too, but is he this huge elite talent per se? Not necessarily, in my opinion. I know you
Yeah, for
love him,
sure.
so I'm not saying like you know what I mean. But we have made this a really long. So we'll go ahead and get into the mock drafts, y'all. Uh, so Tyler did this on PFF. So it's only 3 rounds, which is fine. We don't really need to sit here and go through all 7 rounds of 2 teams. But the Saints have more picks than the Cowboys, so I will go ahead and let you start.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and maybe we'll go back and forth between. Actually, you know what? How about let's do it like
No,
this?
you go for pick 9, then I'll go 12, and then yeah, do it that way.
Yeah, so we'll do it that way. Just fuck what I said. So, I want to clarify that in this, Tyler sent me players that were available at 9, and Mason Graham was one of them. Saints fans, if this happens in real life, yes, I would absolutely expect the Saints to draft Mason Graham. I just cannot see that. Like that is like the most rare scenario to me. I don't know how that happened. So I personally did not take him because I didn't find it realistic. I wanted to give y'all a realistic selection. This is one of my guys from earlier that I told y'all about. So at pick 9, the New Orleans Saints select Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. Like I said, he just looks like a Kellen Moore kind of guy. He loves running 12 personnel. You can send Tyler Warren on some crossing routes simply as a distraction, or if for some reason the teams want to cover Chris Olave instead of him, he's wide open every single time. And that's when I said you have the Brock Bowers-esque kind of season. Whether it's a rookie quarterback, whether it's Spencer Rattler, a tight end that can actually catch goes such a long way for a security blanket for a young quarterback. So yeah, that's pick 9, Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end.
At pick 12, if Tyler Warren was still there, I would have definitely smashed the button on that. But pick 12, I ended up choosing Luther Burden III because I'm still going off the scenario of like the Cowboys not going to get any really big calls for pick 12. Again, I am a firm believer that we should trade back at pick 12 because I just don't see as many just good players at 12. But if you trade back, obviously you'll get a little bit better value, all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jahad Campbell was there, so it was a little bit torn. I just kind of went with I think we need receiver more than we need linebacker right now.
Yeah.
And Luther Burden is my guy, so I'm just gonna. That's why I smashed it. I think Luther Burden is the pick 12 for the Cowboys.
Right on. I think that's a good pick. I mean, solid compliment for CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if there's a better compliment to him than a sub 6 foot receiver. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You
He's a
can't have
4.4.
Jalen.
He's the speed that we need. Like
You can't have Jalen Tolbert be your wide receiver too. I'm sorry. I don't know how you feel about him, but he's not that good in my opinion.
I used to like him coming out. He just hasn't developed the way that I want him to develop, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And that could just be he is like what's his name, who didn't have a lot of football experience. He's like Anthony Richardson. He really didn't have a lot of football experience. He was a track and field guy. He was a track and field guy at
that
South
makes sense.
Alabama, and
Yeah.
so he's still learning. But it's the NFL, so you only get a short amount of time.
And I just think like both Tolbert and Kavonte Turpin would benefit from dropping down just one spot on the depth chart.
I agree.
You can make Kavonte Turpin your Rashid Shaheed. I mean, you saw it firsthand how it works out. He's not as good as Rashid Shaheed as far as a receiver goes. He is a better returner than Rashid Shaheed.
I'm going to let you know right now, too. Kellen Moore is going to Rashid Shaheed. I'll put some for fantasy purposes. Rashid Shaheed is going to be a monster in fantasy because you saw what Kellen Moore did with Tavon Austin, and that was when he was our only receiver. Tavon Austin was literally our only receiver at the time. That was before we got Amari Cooper. But that type of player, that type of gadget player, he's going to scheme up a lot of stuff for him.
That's awesome. I love hearing that because I think Rashid Shaheed is one of the best deep threats in the entire league.
Yep.
So we'll get back into the mock draft. At pick 40, the New Orleans Saints select corner Siobhan Ravel, East
Mhm.
Carolina. That's right, Tyler. We got one of the best corners, in our opinion, in the entire fucking draft at pick
Yeah.
40. We didn't even have to trade up, none of that. And he is an immediate starter for you. If he's not already better than Kool-Aid McKinstry, that is fine. He can be your other outside corner, but I can't stress enough that Alontae Taylor has to stay in the slot. He is so bad at outside corner, and it's okay because he can play slot very well. Point
For
being,
sure.
Siobhan Ravel, honestly, to me, could end up being your number one corner. Nothing against Kool-Aid McKinstry. I love Kool-Aid McKinstry.
It's just that's how
It's
good Siobhan is.
that's exactly. Where I think Kool-Aid McKinstry could lack in big playability. And again, I'm not taking anything away from him. He is a very solid, just cover corner.
Mhm.
Siobhan Ravel is that, and he gets you picks, is my point. And he has the ability to take them back, too. So, yeah, that's pick 40, Siobhan Ravel.
Pick 44. I think the Cowboys and the Saints actually need a lot of similar kind of needs because the players that you're picking, I also want to pick, and Amos was there as well, but I definitely did want to
Yeah,
pick Siobhan Ravel. But I also believe I'm a firm believer in the Cowboys have to select a running back in the second
absolutely.
round, either first or second round, because by the time the third round hits, there's just not the Cowboys need a number one. Cowboys do not
Yeah.
need a Bashal Tootin or a just anybody on that line. They just
No, I get
can't
what you're saying.
they
Yeah.
can't afford it because Javonte Williams, I like him. He's just not playing the downs that you want him to. He's not going to get 4 yards per carry on first down. Miles Sanders is washed. He's not going to do what you want him to do
I'm
either.
so glad you said
Um,
that, bro.
so, um, uh, so yes, you need a number one running back that's going to get you those 4 yards per carry on first down, who can at least take three downs and do what he needs to do. So I picked Travion Henderson out of Ohio State, pick 44.
Woo! That's a home run threat too at any given point in time.
Yes,
He's good at
yes,
he's good at pass blocking, which honestly might end up fucking Javante over. And
it could.
the style of play he is might end up fucking Miles Sanders over. Point being is it's a good thing because Travion Henderson could be your every down back,
And I'm cool.
realistically.
The times we had with Zeke, I'm cool with if we
With the
somehow
Ohio
can
State running
replicate it.
back, bro.
I'm cool if we can replicate it. So
I
let's.
think he's not as physical as Zeke was,
No, not
but
even
he is
close.
so much more of a home run threat than
Oh
Zeke.
yeah, for sure, for sure, and that's
So
what we've been missing for a long time. You know, we had
yeah,
Tony Pollard, but as soon as you put him into the starting role, he didn't really do as much as you wanted him
because he's
to.
not physical.
No, he's not. So hopefully, Travion, I think, is a little bit more like bigger body than what's his name, Tony Pollard. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
All right. So we'll move on to the Saints pick at 71 in the third round. My boy out of Ole Miss, wide receiver Trey Harris. I am in love with this draft so far for the Saints. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Like the value of these picks that we're getting, PFF is kind of dumb in a sense. It's saying that Tyler Warren's a B minus and Siobhan Ravel is a C. I don't know what that's about, but Trey Harris is listed as an A minus because he should not be there at pick 71. But I wouldn't be surprised if he is. You know what I mean? He can be your next Michael Thomas. He's a little bit faster than Michael Thomas, which is already perfect. He's just as physical though. He probably somewhat needs to work on run blocking. I just can't help but think that Keith Williams, our wide receiver coach, is gonna pound that into him anyway. But he has such sure hands. He, as an SEC receiver, as I said before, averaged over 100 yards. He is a big play threat, even though he only ran a 4.5. It. The reason I try and tell people that Jackson Dart is a much better passer than people realize. When he had Trey Harris, you could see him place the ball over Trey Harris's back shoulder. And what does that force a corner to do? Either pass interference or big play every single time. He's just that big body kind of receiver, and that's what the Saints have been missing. And when you get Tyler Warren and Trey Harris in the same draft, all of a sudden you're looking at a pass catching room that consists of Tyler Warren, I will say it, Juwan Johnson, because he's a tight end two instead of one. So Tyler Warren, Juwan Johnson, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, Trey Harris. That's
Yeah, that's good.
actually a supporting cast.
That's fire. That's a fire room for sure.
So yeah, that
That's
would be the pick of
definitely a
71.
fire room. And so yeah, like again, normally in the drafts that I go, if I go anything but receiver in the first, I usually pick up Trey Harris in the third. And then my normal Cowboys drafts, like if I went
Yeah,
Jahad Campbell, I definitely would have taken Trey,
absolutely.
but whatever. But in this draft specifically, at pick 76, I picked the stud Tate Ratledge out of Georgia, the guard. I think it's
The
a perfect
mullet,
fit for the
man.
Cowboys. Exactly. I think it's a perfect fit because we just had Zach Martin retire. We are missing a big hole in right guard, uh, you know, or even possibly left guard if you want to move Tyler Smith to left tackle and then take Tyler Guyton out of the picture. Who knows? Tyler Guyton gets hurt. He gets hurt a bunch.
You do not
So
like Tyler Guyton, bro.
he just dude, he had every single game he played. There was like 15 penalties called on him, and then he
Oh, he's like
missed
Trevor
multiple
Penning.
games because of it. Yeah, yeah. So, but no. So yeah, I love Tate Ratledge. Like kind of Clay was saying, PFF has him at an A- here because I don't think he's going. I don't think he should be in the third. I think he should definitely be in
Absolutely.
the second.
Absolutely.
So I think he's a fantastic player. So yeah, he's a dog. That's all I can say.
And that will conclude the Cowboys mock draft,
Yep.
done by Tyler Thomas, one of the biggest Cowboys fans that I've ever met, while also being a realistic Cowboys fan. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up my mock draft with at pick 93, the Saints managed to get. I am not going to try and pronounce this first name, but Oladejo, the edge out of UCLA, and this is the highest rated pick that I have. And you can ask Tyler at 71. I was debating between Trey
Yeah.
Harris and Oladejo. I didn't know who to pick. Now, to Saints fans out there that have an issue with the fact that I didn't take an O lineman, I am so sorry that this is the way the board fell. I'm going to tell you right now, and Tyler, you can probably attest to this. If a team has a lot of needs like the Saints, you're just not going to address all of them. It just can't happen. It is impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to reach for a positional need rather than what is right there for you. You know what I mean?
And like
And
same kind of thing for me over here at the Cowboys. Like I picked all offensive players. I picked receiver, running back, and guard. When we specifically need a edge rusher and we specifically need a linebacker, like we need
yeah,
them bad because we don't know when we're getting DeMarvion Overshown back because of his blown up knees. So right now our linebacking room consists of like Damone Clark, who was a 5th-round pick who had like a back surgery. So it's
oh God.
yeah, but I get it. I get it. It's like you're just not going to select, especially if you need a bunch of picks and a bunch of players. You're just not going to hit every single one.
Well, all right. Real quick before we go ahead and have you sign off, I want to ask you because it's really funny. How do you feel about Peyton Turner?
I haven't.
The
To
Saints'
be
first
honest
round
with you,
pick, man, from 2020, whatever the fuck. I think it was 2020.
the only thing that I have to say on any free agent that we sign is Jerry signs them for a specific reason. Okay.
Yeah.
Jerry believes in our coaching. Jerry believes in our process. Jerry believes that when you put the helmet on, like your game steps up another level. So all I can say, I mean, we made Dante Fowler get a big contract with the Commanders,
Yeah.
like just those type of things, right? So I think he will have a decent year. I don't think it's going to be anything that we're like super excited over. He's definitely going to be just depth at that. He's not going to get. He might get 15 snaps a game, 15 to 20 snaps a game. So yeah, I mean, it's. I'm not over the moon by it. I'm also like,
Yeah.
he's a 1st-round pick. He was a 1st-round pick for a reason. let's see what we can do. It also is the fact that, and it happens to everybody. You know that the Saints might have not been a good fit for
Oh
Peyton
no,
Turner,
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
then he could be a good fit for us. So who knows? I mean, like
absolutely.
again, uh, I don't even remember what we signed him for or how long we even signed him for, but
Uh,
um,
I want to say it's like a 1 year. It's nothing crazy for
so
sure.
yeah, if it's a 1 year deal and he ends up,
Hey, we did it
getting.
with Chase Young,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, right. So if he ends up taking a 1 year and getting maybe 6 or 7 sacks out of it a year, I'm cool with it.
um, and then I wanted to say I was scrolling through the Saints roster the other
Oh
day.
boy,
Do you know who's on our practice squad?
I can't even imagine.
Josh Ball.
Is he really? Oh, that's funny, dude. That's so funny. I didn't even realize. I thought he would still be. I guess no, it's been that long. It's been 2020. He was drafted. So
Yeah.
hey, good for New Orleans. Good for
Hey,
New Orleans.
hey, you know what? Good for Josh Ball. He's made it to
He
I don't
made it
know.
to the NFL. He's
I'm
made it
not
to the
gonna
NFL.
yeah, exactly. Um so go ahead and plug your show and talk about it real quick, and then you can go ahead and sign out.
Yeah. So my friend Daniel and I, Clay and I, we've all three of us have been friends for 15 plus years now, whatever it's
Yeah,
been, ever since.
you've known Daniel since you were a
Yeah,
child though.
I've known Daniel ever since I was like 5. So we actually have a podcast over. We are on Twitch every single Tuesday and Saturday. Um, it is the D&T podcast or the D&T show. We talk about Monday Night Raw, WWE, just basically WWE stuff. Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, any premium live event, pay-per-view that they do have. Which, by the way, WrestleMania 42 is in New Orleans next year.
Oh shit.
So there you go.
I don't know shit about wrestling, but
It's okay. It's fine. But
I'll
yeah,
learn
we talk about.
more from watching y'all's show.
Exactly. Yeah, so we're over there on Twitch. We also are on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, basically any social media, TikTok. We have it all. Um, so yeah, just come out and look at the show, follow us, and kind of see what you like. So if you're into WWE anything like that, we put on a pretty I feel like pretty entertaining show.
It is.
We have
It is.
different takes than
I
a
can
lot of
attest to
other
that.
other creators have. So yeah, come check us out.
Well, all right, Tyler. Thank you so much for this, man. And I'm so excited to get this out and for the people to listen to. Hopefully, we can get a little
Yeah.
clips on some TikToks so that we can get
Yep.
people mad at us and whatnot.
That's
Um,
perfectly fine by me.
but yeah, other than that, I guess I'll see you at my wedding.
Shower, baby shower in May.
Oh, is that first? All right.
Yeah.
Duh. Then I will see you at the baby shower and then the wedding.
We'll go from there, my friend.
All right, brother. Well, I
All
really
right, buddy.
appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, if you want any
Yep.
reactions from the draft, you know where to find me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maybe I'll get you back on for something like that. We'll do a little post draft thing. Maybe
Yeah,
Daniel will join that time too. I was
yeah,
more
we'll
so
see.
talking in person, but yeah.
All
Oh shit. All right, man. I love you.
right,
I'll catch
brother.
you next time.
Sounds good.
And I wanted to do this final topic just on my own. I didn't expect Tyler to sit there and go over a topic like this with me since he is not a Saints fan. But I just wanted to say thank you again to Tyler for coming out. And hopefully next time we can get Daniel on there as well. They're both the co-hosts of that show that he was telling you about. So here's this topic real quick with just me. If the Saints don't pick a quarterback at 9 or 40, because they might trade up, so it might not be 40, but in my opinion, I think that means Spencer Rattler is your starting quarterback next year. Don't get me wrong, Jalen Milroe could last till 71. Two, asterisks about that though. I think there's a lot of buzz on him lately, and I think that is signifying more of a second round pick for him now, which is fine. Good for him. But even if they do draft Milroe at 71, I don't know if that necessarily constitutes him starting over Spencer. I think it would be a very interesting quarterback battle because they're both good at two completely different things. You know what I mean? I've seen someone say, how do you feel about Milroe as a Taysom Hill-esque gadget player? I think it depends where you draft him, But I just want to say that person that said that said trading back into the first to draft him for that, and that is terrible value. You're not drafting a gadget player in the first round. That's just stupid. If the Saints traded up and drafted Milroe in the first round, I would assume, like I said, I would assume that he would be your starter. Point being, if it's not those first 2-round picks, if it's like or I guess Milroe at 71, but point being, if it's like a fourth, or I would say fifth, but the Saints don't currently have a 5th-round pick. If it's one of those 4th or 6th-round picks, like let's say a Kyle McCord, he's most likely your backup. And that's all I have to say about that. So, yeah, we'll end up catching y'all next time. The draft is only 3 days away. By the time y'all hear this, it'll be 2. I can't even contain myself. I'm still going to record my live reaction to pick 9. If for some reason the Saints trade up from 9 and I don't have my camera already going, I have a Ring camera, so y'all will see the live reaction regardless. It's going to be great. I will see y'all on draft night. Who dat, baby?